Hey guys, we have a little treat. We have a guest today, our travel expert. Could you please welcome Kaya to the show?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you ladies.
Alright, so Kaya is a big advocate for traveling. So I thought that she could give us some tips, or suggestions, or advice. So she's our guest for today, or guest for this month. Alright, so Kaya, you want to give us a little background in your traveling history?
Well, it started when I was a wee young little girl.
Oh, Lord.
Like, I'm playing. I've been a lot of places, a little bit of places. There's nowhere that's not on my list. My love for travel really started when I was younger, when Miss Keisha's mom used to take us places. She used to make sure we got to see some nice little places around and stuff, and do things, and kept us out the streets.
Aww. Yeah.
Shout out to my mom.
Go
Go
mom.
streets.
Go mom. Yes.
This girl sounds like a rapper now with the fake life.
Not the fake life. She did keep us out the streets. But anyway, we are going off a topic.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Being in the streets? We didn't talk about that.
No streets.
Nobody in
to be
the
had.
streets.
Let's clear that up.
You're right. There was no
streets
streets to be had. I was not watching TV then either. So just so we're clear. When I got in a better position to have more financial security and was able to start traveling, that's when I really found my love for it. And everywhere is on my list. I can't think of anywhere that I don't want to go. That's probably the gist of how it got started. Or I love it because it's freeing to be somewhere different, meeting new people, which is ironic because I don't like talking to people. But when I travel, I actually have to talk to people. So it's helping me grow as well. So that's a win-win.
All right. So how long have you been traveling?
To the extent that I travel now, probably about 10 years. Yeah. Probably about 10 years to the extent that I travel now. Before then, about 18 years ago, I started traveling. In my mind, I wanted to do for the kids that I raised what I couldn't do, and that was show them different places in the States. We would go down to Orlando, and I would take them to games, different cities. We used to go down to Greensboro, but I would take them as they got older. We started going to the Dominican Republic, Mexico. I would take them to different places so they could see different things. I always wanted them to know that there's a bigger world than the city we grew up in or the town we grew up in. Show them different things. I think that's important to enriching people's lives, and especially children. It gets rid of a lot of biases.
Okay. I know you like to travel. What does traveling? Well, you already said it's free.
It's definitely free, but it's relaxing. It helps me recoup, rejuvenate, reset, refocus. Like for me, travel is my me time, especially if I do a solo trip, because I only have to answer to myself. If I don't feel like doing nothing, I do nothing. If I feel like doing everything, I do everything. But it's only on my schedule, and for something like that, I usually go somewhere with some water. Like I said, water is calming and relaxing to me. Like I could hop on an island and get a beachfront property or resort, depends on what I'm trying to do, and just listen to the waves.
Okay, listen to the waves. I use Hotwire to find hotels when traveling. What websites would you recommend to look for flights and hotels?
Your one-stop shop for me would be Skyscanner. Skyscanner.com. This could help you locate hotels, flights, cars. It's very similar to Hotwire, except for you can put your email in and it'll let you know when the prices drop. So one thing I would suggest for people, we always have a place, an idea where we want to go when we start traveling, or when we're traveling. But if you have your dates You can make it a lot cheaper if you go on Skyscanner, put your dates in the airport you want to fly out of, and put everywhere. So what it does is it searches and it gives you the cheapest flights. So if you go in my local airport, put it in, and say for instance in the States it might be like, if I'm going from, who knows, we'll say June the 13th through June the 17th, it'll say US. And it'll start off with whatever the cheapest price. Say if somebody's having a sale, it'd be like round trip for those days. It could be $50, $70, $100, whatever it is. And it goes through all of the countries for the most part. And it will give you the cheapest prices that people have found for those dates. So if I'm trying to get a cheap trip, I would use that anywhere locator. So I don't actually have a place set. I'll put it in, and that's how we ended up going to Austin, I think, that time. Because we got that, what was it, $49 round trip flight?
Sounds crazy.
Yeah, and that's how we ended up in Minneapolis, because that was like $80. So you just put your dates in.
What's it, Skywire?
Skyscanner.
Skyscanner.
Yeah, skyscanner.com.
Skyscanner.
So if you can get your flight at a cheap price, then you can start making everything else fit.
Right.
So that would be my Skyscanner. I recommend to everybody, anybody, and to follow that up, you can do Google Flights.
Yeah.
Same exact thing, and they'll let you put in your email, and when the prices drop, they'll send you an email, let you know, hey, the prices for this location has dropped, and probably a good time to get it.
All right. Do you think everyone should get a passport? Why not?
Well, it depends on your actual financial situation. I would recommend everyone gets a passport if you can afford it, if it's something you can do, because you can get cheap flights. Take for instance, I got a flight, my first time going to Europe, I got a flight from my airport to Iceland. It was like $190, $170. But once I got into Europe, I started getting $17 flights, $30 flights to move around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not only that, being able to go to other countries, like I said before, it stops some of your biases. We have been taught in this country that we are the best. This is the best. No one else lives like us. If you go see some of these other countries, it's nothing like what they tell you and what they show you. That's just like everything they show us about Africa is people in a hut, no clothes, barefoot. You go to Africa, they got some of the best cities. I technically haven't been, but from what I've seen and Googled and searched, I mean, they're thriving just like us, and some of the places are actually better. And I'm in a lot of expat groups, and people are thriving in everywhere, literally everywhere. Whatever your choice is, what you like, what you want to do, how free you want to be, you can definitely get it somewhere else.
So you say if you can afford a passport, you should get one. Why you always try to rob me about getting a passport?
Because then you can travel with me. Duh.
You just said if I can't afford it.
Girl, you can afford it.
How you gonna tell me what I can afford it?
You can afford it. Are you willing to do something strange for some change?
And I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not.
Change
You
for
can
the
afford
change.
it in the
Get you
long
a tart.
run. You can get you one. I don't care what nothing else says.
I was listening to that the other day. I was like, what is wrong with this? Why you like that? Yo, I was that.
Because she ain't had the TARP experience yet. Wait till she get it.
Smokes.
She gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. If you guys have not heard the TARP conversation, I think it was like 3 podcasts ago. Oh my god, it's a must. It is a must. Oh my gosh. So in your opinion, does traveling cost a lot of money?
It doesn't have to. It definitely doesn't have to. But back to your passport question, if you think about it rationally,
We still on that?
yes, a passport is roughly, because I don't know the prices right now, roughly $160. It's good for 10 years. That's $16 a year. You were going to spend $16 every year on something anyway. Bubble gum, snacks, McDonald's, whatever. $16.
Cheddars.
Don't eat
Cheddars.
I haven't been to any of those places, and did you not know that I still need to get my car fixed? Or is that not a thing?
I'm not asking you today or tomorrow. I gave you a couple years. Did I not say next year? I think you got to August of next year.
Where do you go to get your passport?
Right now they've opened it up so you can do it online, but the post office. You can get it all done there. You fill out your application, get your picture taken, everything at the post office, or you could go to something like CVS, I believe, does it. They take your picture, and you just take that with your paperwork to the post office. Now, I'm not 100% sure about the online thing yet because I haven't renewed mine online. I've always gone to the post office, but that's your one-stop shop for that. And it's roughly around $160, if I recall. And if your passport has expired and you need to renew it, you have up to 5 years after it expires to renew it using that same passport. If not, you'll have to start the process all over again. And to get it done, I believe you need your social security card, birth certificate, and an identification. And if you have children, you need both parents if they're on the birth certificate. If it's just one parent on the birth certificate, you need just that one parent. And the same thing applies for them, the social security card and their birth certificates. If they have an ID, great. If they don't, you don't technically need their ID.
Tell us about the 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Most people don't know is that when you travel out the country, when your date that you come back, for most places, your passport needs to be valid for 6 months after that, or they will not let you board the plane.
So really, 10 years is really 9 years and some months.
9 years and a half. Correct. So it's still valid, but you can only use it for 9 years and a half. But there are some countries that don't have that rule. Like I believe the Bahamas might be 1 month, so you can up to 1 month before your passport expires. I think Jamaica might be like 3, but it varies. But majority of the countries stick to the 6 months.
Right. So if you about to take a trip and you try to come back within a certain period, your thing about to expire, you're gonna be stuck.
You're gonna be whatever Bahamas nigga.
No, well, they're not gonna let you. They're not gonna let you board to leave the country to even get over
but what
there.
if it expires when nobody really paying attention? They let you go on and it expires while you over there.
No, if you're taking a trip that's so many days, they're not gonna let you board. But if you're living out the country, you can go to your embassy wherever you're living and get the renewal thing done there.
All right. Do you prefer to travel alone or with someone?
So that's a catch-22.
Okay.
I like it by myself. I 100% like it by myself, but sometimes that gets boring. Sometimes that you want to share memories with people. Because, like, it's not the same thing if I go out and go partying by myself as if I go out and go partying with a group of people. Like, especially people that I'm close to. So that's a different experience. So for me, by myself is always top. But at some point, I'm like, okay, I need to share this experience with somebody. So,
all right. What city or country would you say you have been that's been your favorite to travel to?
Well, my favorite, like I think I said a couple podcasts ago, my favorite city to travel to currently for partying is Cartagena.
Okay.
Definitely Cartagena. Colombia is in Colombia, South America. It's roughly 5 hours in the air from where I am. It's easy access. Flights are usually pretty reasonable. But once you get there, you live very good for the U.S. dollar. You live like your royalty over there for the U.S. dollar. And that particular city has everything you could want to do. Whatever you do, it's there for you. And that's good or bad. So you got to take it. You can't. You got to be responsible.
Oh, okay. All right. What city or country has had the best food that you experienced?
That might be a toss-up between Rome and Greece. I did a food tour when I was in Rome, and like the way they pair things made it amazing. But they knew exactly what to do and how to put it in the best spots in town, because we're paying for this service.
Right.
So that was super awesome. Definitely trying wines with certain pastas and meats and stuff that I would have never thought to pair together. But Greece was just thumbing through and like, okay, I think I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try that, and then some people not really speaking English and I don't speak Greek, so that's a little bit of a struggle, but we worked it out. And travel is a big thing about finding out who you are. For me, it helps you explore some of your weaknesses and some of your strengths.
How you like explain that?
So, like I mentioned before, I don't like to talk to people.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's making me like sometimes I don't know how to get around, and there's a language barrier. So now I got to figure out how to communicate with you, not knowing your language, and you not knowing mine, or the little bit that we do know of each other. Because I try to make it a point for myself when I'm going somewhere to learn at least the basics, like hello, goodbye, thank you, of whatever language they speak.
All right. So it's a tool to help you get out of your comfort zone.
Definitely get out your comfort zone.
All right. What's the most interesting thing you've seen on a trip? And that could be whatever. That could be a museum. That could be some people that was involved in some crazy stuff. It could be anything.
I don't know. I think the geyser in Iceland. So it's a hole in the ground and the water shoots up, and this thing was on a timer. Like I can't remember if it was a minute or every few seconds it would spew up water, like phew, phew. I mean, it came with force like nothing I'd ever seen. So it was dope to witness, but to watch them like kind of count it down.
Right.
Like that's how consistent this was. That was pretty dope for me.
All right. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you on a trip?
So, coming out of Rome, going to Copenhagen, we're taking off, and all I fucking see is water. I'm like, we about to die. We about to die. And all of a sudden, the plane go up and boom, turn this way, and I'm like, oh my God, we gonna die. So, coming out of Rome can be a little rough when you taking off. So that was the scariest one, and the second one was going into St. Croix with the same thing with all this water. The pilot kept saying, "Flight attendants, prepare to land." I'm like, where the fuck we landing? I don't see nothing but water. Flight attendants, prepare to land. I'm like, Jesus, I can't swim yet. So it's always something with some water.
How many places have you been on one vacation?
Let's count it down together. Because I don't know the answer. So I did 2 weeks in Europe. I went from my airport to Iceland, Iceland to Poland, Poland to Santorini, Greece, then Santorini to Mykonos, Mykonos to Athens, Athens to London, London, and London to Paris. So that would be 7.
Okay, big time. What's your top travel tip?
That if you research enough, you can keep it in your budget. You can make it budget friendly. You can get to anywhere you want to be on a budget. And I only say that because most people think travel is expensive. Right. It doesn't have to be. It's just all about how you budget things and learn the little insider things. Like I was reading an article, must have been today, so I think the other day, and there was something that I didn't know, that if you have a long layover between 8 and 24 hours, that most airlines give you, I think it was called transit accommodations. So where they give you transportation to and from a hotel, and meal tickets while you're on this layover. Oh, okay. So no, it's not you have to call your airline and make sure that they provide this service, but that's a great way to check out another city.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah. All right. Do you prefer, when traveling, do you prefer to use Uber, Lyft, public transportation, or renting a car?
I'm a public transportation person all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper,
Okay.
and it gets you to cover more ground. You can see more things like that you wouldn't even know you were looking for. Like, for instance, we were in Rome, and we were taking the train. So we were going from wherever the Sistine Chapel is to get to the Colosseum. But along the way, we saw everybody out in this particular area, so we got off to see what it was, and it was the Spanish Steps. Mm-hmm. So that's a popular thing in Rome. And we would have never seen it or even knew it was there if we didn't just get out and check. Mm-hmm. So it's a great way to move around and see some things.
All right, last question for me. What's the furthest place that you've been? From like your home state to
I think Greece is the farthest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Greece is the farthest.
How long was that flight?
Well, I don't know because I didn't do it straight. That was in my hopping around, different days, different places.
Gotcha.
But the longest flight I've been on is 9.5 hours, and that was from Paris to Orlando. And believe it or not, I slept most of the time.
Simone, do you have any questions for our guest today?
That's a no.
All right.
No.
All right. Well, Kaya, we thank you for coming to share some of your expertise or experiences with traveling. On behalf of Tits and Giggles, we would like to present you with a little appreciation for your time today. So,
thank you, ladies.
let's give it up for Kaya, our
Thank you
guest.
very much. So, just to reiterate, skyscanner.com is your friend.
I was looking at that.